This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here with Rudi, who is joining us from Rodenbach, and we're just about to go through a little tasting of some of his marvelous beers, but he was just about to explain a little something about tasting.
Okay. What you have to know is about the evolution of our taste palate. When we are young, we are born with the acceptation of three tastes. Sweetness, that's normal, because carbohydrates are in sweetness. Also saltiness, you need that because otherwise you cannot grow up. And also sourness. Sourness will be accepted when you are young. And when you are young, you can drink liters of orange juice. This is not a problem. When you grow up, you do that any longer. You will drink one glass. Why? Because the sourness is too high. And bitterness, you cannot accept that when you are young. So only when you became adult, you can accept bitterness. The reason about that is that the original, that bitterness normally in nature is poisoned, and you have to learn from your mother which bitter flavors are acceptable for health. And that is the main reason why you only can accept that after your adolescent phase. What you have to know also is that women are more sensitive to bitterness than men. They can also taste much more bitter than we do. And when a woman became pregnant, her taste palate will change into the direction of less bitterness and more sweetness. And some women don't like any longer cabbages or
broccoli.
Why? Because there is a certain bitterness that you don't taste when you're not pregnant.
And this is a hormonal thing.
This is hormonal.
Right.
This is hormonal. And third reason that you have to know, acceptation of bitterness don't only depend on your age, if you're a man or a woman, but also of the origin of people. The more you go to the north in Europe, the more people can accept bitterness. The more you go to the south, the less they accept bitterness. Explanation about that is that in northern area there was less food and people accepted any style and any type of food. Also the food who was more bitter. But the risk of, spoiled food was also less. So this was not so dangerous. Once you go to warmer area, people are very sensitive to bitterness because the risk of spoiled food is very high. And this is very unique in Belgium. Is a very strange country. We all don't only have a language border, but that language border is also a taste border. And the second taste border we can find in Europe is around the big rivers in the Netherlands. Above the big rivers, people taste in another way. They can accept more bitterness than south of the big rivers, and even more than the north part of the French language border in Belgium.
So this is a cultural thing as well as a geographic thing.
This cultural, geographic, and if you look to America, then a lot of people are immigrated in the 1900s, between 1900 and let me say 1800 and 1950, and the first people arrived in the south of United States, and then the second part, the English part, was arrived at the East Coast. But if you look to the West Coast, that were the last immigrants, and they arrived in Northern California, Oregon, and Washington State. There you can find also the most bitter beers, and they accepted more bitter beers comparing with Tennessee and Florida and the southern part of the United States.
I guess that kind of explains the American pale ale style that came coming from the West Coast.
That's right.
Right.
That's my explanation about it, and everyone accepted that because it is that reason. That is the main reason.